Welcome to InStory Live. It's Devorah here, and it is Wednesday, July 17th, and it's the second day of the InStory show. And I hope that you will join us on the InStory show. No matter when you are watching this, whatever moment it is, you can come in and go back and connect to everything in the InStory show. Hi, Kay. Hi, Sylvia. Good morning. And what's so exciting about launching this InStory show out in the world is its focus on being empaths, being highly sensitive, and raising our consciousness to these incredible sensitivities that were crazy liabilities when no one knew what the heck it was. And now we're turning those into our greatest gifts and strengths. And look, every speaker you'll hear, and Kay and Sylvia, you can probably relate, like every speaker tells a story of what it was like when they were kids. I just interviewed Veronica Cresto, and she talked about how nobody knew what it was, but she was so sensitive. They called her, don't be a sensitive Susie is what they called her. And she said when she walked into this, one time they went into some, I don't know, like a hotel or something that had like a big lobby with a lot of animals that were killed and they're, stuffed and put on the wall. And she just fell down sobbing hysterically, and everyone else was like, what? So, they couldn't understand what it was. And she really does tell her whole story about being more sensitive than the average person. And what they are saying now is that it's about 20% of the population that are highly sensitive, whether you're empath or not, but just you're highly sensitive, you're just more aware. And that, hi Kara, and that this is our strength. We are the ones who know stuff and can know things that other people can't know. We're the ones the world needs us to take leadership and bring this awareness forward. So it's very exciting, and it's everywhere. Like if you go online now, you can see like the Shift Network itself has a ton of things on the highly sensitive person, on the empath's journey, Judith Orloff's book. It's finally like, hello, we're talking about it. So for me, part of my experience is because I'm also an extrovert. A lot of very highly sensitive people are introverts, but not all of us. And so I represent those of us who are actually extroverts. And I say that one of the differences is that although I'm highly sensitive, a lot of times for an empath, it's uncomfortable to feel all of that stimulation. So it doesn't bother me. I still get worn out by it though, and I still have to have my time alone. And it's interesting because as I kind of pay attention and look at all this, I know that all my life it's this, like what I call a call to stillness or quiet. And in fact, this morning what came to me, that expression, the call of the wild? Well, for me, it was the call of the quiet. Like that is part of the experience, I think, of a lot of us. Like, how do we answer the call of the quiet? Hi, Ingrid. Ingrid and I had so much fun yesterday doing Facebook Live, and now I know the secret. Like, I know now she's on her computer, not her phone, because it just says I can wave to you, not I can invite you to talk. and Ingrid and I yesterday, we had such an amazing conversation, and you can hear some of it on my personal page and some of it in the InStory group. And what's happening now, like Kay and Sylvia, you're in my InStory group, we have these deep conversations. And I think this is also something that is often lost in the mix here with so much like coming in, as I said this morning, I wrote down this idea that I called the call of the quiet. Not the call of the wild, like I like that too, but for me it's really the call of the quiet, because I'll get up in the morning sometimes and I won't be, a lot of people say you get up in the morning, don't open your phone, but usually I do, and sometimes that's fine. I open it up, I see what there is, and then I put down, and other times I get pulled in, and there's so many things that can pull us, and we're not really deciding that. It's pulling us, and we're just letting that stream of outer noise just pull on us. And if you can notice it, that's why I'm always teaching this idea of pause, notice, and shift. And hi, Janet. And so that concept of pause, notice, and shift, if we don't do that, then at the end of the day, you might go, what did I do? Or I never got a chance to do my deep work. And then it's this feeling of worn outness somehow, right? So often, besides going in the forest, I also go out for exercise, but sometimes it's really clear to me that my need to go in the forest is more for the quiet. And so, like, the forest is not the call of the wild to me, it's the call of the quiet. It's funny because the words that have been coming to me really strongly are these non-externalized world words, like the word small. I'll be teaching more about this, but the concept of something small containing something vast. Because if you think about it, in America, we're generally sort of encouraged to see that what's better is bigger and more of it. If that's what makes a thing better, kind of by this very externalized, like kind of Western, kind of overwhelming culture. It's like you have to be bigger, you have to have more. And so for us as highly sensitive people and creatives and introverts and intuitives, we actually know that there's another really big story going on. And that's why I had this kind of funny thing called the call of the quiet. Because of course, when we actually listen to that call, calling of our soul, you can't hear your soul unless you get a little quiet. And of course, the first thing to do to answer that call of the quiet is to breathe. You know, the other thing I teach is what I call stop, drop, and breathe. They used to have that thing in kindergarten where they called it stop, drop, and read. So all of these are my way that I work on, but that I want to share with you about pausing ourselves in the busyness of getting outer things done, because we don't get those inspirations and the vision forward unless you kind of pull yourself out of the pull. Right? Because if I want to lead, I can't just be in the thing that's pulling me, because then something else is leading me. I'm not leading. So if you want to lead, and it can be lead it doesn't have to be big. This is the whole idea of this small. It doesn't have to be big, but there's a big difference between always being pulled and pausing, stepping out of that stream, that pull, and getting quiet and still. And when that happens, that's when you can receive, and then you can be a pull for someone else, and you can help lead and pull people into a good place, right? Isn't that our goal? That we want to connect to someone who's maybe stuck in something that's not working and lead them, pull them out of that. That's why we need each other. You know, we need to support each other. So, you know, in my InStory group, that is what we do. And now that's what we're doing in the InStory show, is really helping to pull each other out of the chaos, out of the pounding noise and push that's all around us in the culture. And it's tricky, right? Because one of the things that is that pull is right where we are right now on Facebook, right? So here's the thing. You have to find that what really, you have to be careful, because Facebook can be a very big journey away from what leads you. On the other hand, you can sometimes kind of be intuitive and find that you'll be led to something, a wisdom you need. But here's the deal. In order to know the difference, you have to have You have to pause and notice and choose. Because if you don't pause and stop and get quiet and breathe and do some kind of inner practice, could be my InStory way state process, but some process, you can't notice anything. You're just on automatic. And then you can't choose. You're only reacting. Sigh. But here's the thing. If you're listening to me, it's because you are a person who does pause, notice, and shift. You do tune in. You know how to do this. The thing is, we just have to make ourselves do it, right? And so make sure you have some kind of regular practice. And part of that is listening to inspirational teachers. Learning is a very important part. It's not that I want us to just stop listening to each other, but it's more about, as you learn something new, to really pause and take in that integrative time to integrate what you learned and to begin to hear your own thinking, your own wisdom, your own insights, and not be afraid to share them. Right? Because so often we go through, who am I to share what I have to say? And you know me, I'm always modeling for you, being brave enough to share something that's not perfect. So I'm going to read you the first moment this idea of small came to me. I've written a bunch about it since then, and I'm growing the idea, the small. It's a contradiction, but nevertheless, like, think about it. Great trees come from tiny seeds. So anyway, this is what came to me, and I'm going to tell you this form, and this is the most simple thing. Hi, Linda. This is the simplest piece of writing technique you could ever do. I call it in writing. And here's the entire assignment. You start a piece of free writing, like by hand in your journal. That means you're just going to write in a flow. I mean, you don't care what you write, just going to let it come back. And the only instruction I do it is you start it with the word in. That's it. That's the entire instruction. It's called in writing. So the way I do it is I just write in writing at the top of my page. I skip a line and then I just start to write, and I start with the word in. I don't know why, but it does something. I'd be curious if you try it, if it's helpful. What it does is it somehow it cuts through my overthinking and allows a flow to come out of me. And it leads me to all interesting other kinds of writing. So here's one little tiny piece of in writing. In a small way, I know something much bigger, much, much bigger and true. Yes, true. And in my heart, and in yours too, a big truth, dressed small, powerful, beautiful, true, a gift, a wisdom, an opening to the vast wonder of the expanded universe of love and joy and new possibilities. A way is open for you and for me. The key is it's small. And in writing works, you've done it too, Kay. Yeah, there's just something about it. And here's the thing, you got to trust the things that come to you, because they're your wisdom. The small teaching you received, there is a path to greatness that looks small, yet is powerful, profound, and abundant. That came to me later. So, and you know, I love kinds of things like alliteration, and I wrote, when I was working on small, I wrote small, right? S-M-A-L-L. So so it wasn't exactly an acronym exactly. It was soul, spirit, matters above all, small. That this idea of something being small, but being like the container can be small and the effect can be very expanded. So I'm hosting right now the InStory show, and it's funny because I wrote down a whole bunch of things that I do that are small. Like, I live in a small house. One of the messages I always say to people is gently, gently. but relentlessly. Gently is a version of small. And now I'm doing the series of the InStory shows are small, right? I used to do the Path to Purpose project, which had like 30 something speakers, and each of these has around 10 to 12. So it's small. And I remember when I was thinking about this concept of small, that when I had lived in Israel for 5 years, I had actually a year break in between, but when I came back to America, Israel's a very small country, and I came back, and one of the things that struck me was that everything in America seemed like it was bigger and there was more of it. And that doesn't always make it better. So something that I'm thinking about, and here's what I'm trying to model for you, is that if you listen to the call of the quiet, which is where we started, right? And then you pause and you notice, you take that quiet time to notice. And I always say it's either pause, notice and shift, or pause, notice and choose. If you do that, you become able to access wisdom. It's important to listen to wisdom teachers. I spend a lot of time listening to wisdom teachers. And learning wisdom texts and so forth. And, I often say, without my tradition under my feet, I wouldn't feel that what I have to say has value. So wisdom teachers are very important, but then you are a unique vessel and you are important. What you have to say can only be said by you in your unique voice and your unique way. No one else has had your experience. No one else has your story. And this is part of the essence of what I teach, is that your story holds your path for you. It holds your wisdom. It holds your purpose. And I'm in the process of creating an amazing new course that's going to be called Reveal. And it's going to show you how to tap into your soul story to reveal your purpose. It will reveal your purpose to you, and then it will allow you to reveal your purpose to the world. Your unique purpose is in your story. Just think about it, right? So if you let yourself answer that call to the quiet, you get quiet, you allow yourself to integrate the wisdom you have learned and receive your own teachings, then look, I bring on things that they're not finished yet, they're not perfect. I often bring to you literally the thing that came to me the morning before I came on here. Right, the call of the quiet that came to me this morning. You don't have to wait to share in this way. If you're going to build something, it helps actually to share it because it gets more clear. All right, so think about this. And then we talked about in writing, which is my process of free writing. And it literally, the entire instruction is start with the word in and then see what happens after you do that. So I would love to know how this helps you, what's working for you. If you haven't joined the InStory show, in is a big word for me. InStory is my whole vision, my whole company. And the InStory way is my whole year-long process of how you shift out of the old, shape this new, and share it with the world. I'm on a mission. I believe that our stories matter and that we have something to say. So tune in. If you haven't joined the InStory show yet, just go to instoryshow.com and sign up. We're only on the second day, and there's a whole speaker page. There's going to be a whole replay period. I'm starting to interview the speakers live on Facebook besides their formal interviews, and they all have amazing free gifts and resources to give you. All right. That's my inspiration for this morning. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. If you try in writing, did that help? Does it help to think about pause, notice, and shift? What are you doing that's making a difference? Let me know. Have an amazing day. And remember, as I always say, to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.